All right, time now is 10:36 a.m. in the morning on May 20th. Um, I slept from 3:50 to 10:15, and I woke up naturally. I didn't even need the fucking alarm. I'm zonked out of my mind, really. So, oh my god. So today's gonna be a fun day. Also, I'm so happy because yesterday I cleared like 21 minutes of storage space for my phone. Now that I'm looking at my storage, looking at my phone, it's not counting down anymore. So I'm really happy about that. So today's a Saturday, and as much as I would love to sleep in and wake up naturally, today I will instead go to the Film Club Film Festival. This is the second time the Film Club has done something like this, but this is way bigger in terms of scale. It has free food, it's providing all sorts of activities, it has Q&A, it has special guests. The Indian Prince will be coming to the film festival over Zoom, which is stupid as fuck, but it is what it is. Um, and most importantly, they are playing two of my short films on the big screen, and I will be fucking up everyone's psychological state of mind um, in real time on a big silver screen. So that's gonna be fun. And all at the same time, several things may or may not happen. First of all, Film 33, Birkin, Zach, and Sidlali are going to come here and set up a booth um, to sort of tell people about Film 33 and ask people for more money, which is very important. Second of all, um, um, yeah, second of all, today's Saturday, so theoretically there should be Film 40 class, so I may or may not run into the Indian professor and Leslie. Please let me see her one more time. Um, Also, Leslie earlier this morning asked me for the address for Frank's house. Again, it's just so lovely to see a text from your crush in the morning. Like, no other feeling compares to that. Third of all, Alba will show up and ask me to use my camera to film some stuff. A missing shot for her short film. And so I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to try out the Sigma lens in real time. So I'm going to bring my camera with my Sigma, probably, if it's not too heavy. And also, Michelle has a couple of surprises for me, and one of which is going to be her introducing a first generation Hong Konger girl, first generation Hong Kong American girl to me. Hopefully, that's the surprise. That would be pretty interesting. If it's something less, then I would be a little bit disappointed. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to probably shave everything down here. I'll keep my mustache, but I'll shave everything down here. Um, I've debated whether I should shave or not because I do want to keep a rugged, dejected, homeless look for Film 33 shoot. But you know what? Since this part is just very sparse and it's very ugly, might as well just shave it off. I'm gonna trim my nails. Um, and about my acne, there's nothing to be done. My forehead has like a giant growing acne right now, which is terrible. But so far, my face is just full of scars. So yeah. And then I'm gonna dress up in something nice. I'll wear a gray suit, something casual underneath, and I'll wear some fancy gray pants. And yeah, it's gonna be like dress up or shut up all over again, with my outfit. So that's gonna be fun. And all in the meanwhile, yeah, all in the meanwhile, I'll try to figure out the rural Mexico issue. Uh, to replace the marshlands and hopefully tomorrow morning I can go location scouting with Kuchio, because that's literally the only possible time. Yeah. So that is that. Yeah, so that's actually quite exciting. I'm actually quite excited about this. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. God. If I could still manage to charm Leslie. I feel like to a certain degree in the last 3 days or so, I did manage to charm her. Imagine knowing in your heart that your crush is gonna reject you, and you still have the determination to charm her and do whatever you can, despite knowing that you're gonna fail. Now that is the power of determination, my friend. Again, it's okay if Leslie like rejects me. I just think that's a given. But you know, get her or die trying. You know, I can't just give up. So that's that. I want to continue giving her hints. And the more hints I give her, the more obvious it will be that it's her. Like when I tell her the girl is aggressive, she's like, is she more aggressive than me? Because as far as we all know, she's the most aggressive girl in the whole campus, which is true. And the way she like grabs me by the shirt, it feels a little it feels a little like humiliating almost. Like I'm just like a plastic doll that she can toy around. But that humiliation is like, it's like, ooh, now I'm feeling like bad, and now she has the upper hand, and it's like it's actually pretty good. Damn, Wesley just waking up some sort of fetish from inside me. It's amazing, actually. But I also don't want this to be one-sided. Like, I want to play her too. I want to play with her feelings too. If she can play with mine, I want to play with her feelings too. Let's be mutually weird to each other. Like, that's just great, you know? I want to do that. So, I'm gonna secretly film this intriguing event. Oh, is that that's Sean, isn't it?
Out here and we have a vigil for the pigs at Farmer John. So right now we're outside of Farmer John's slaughterhouse. As you can see, we have a nice group accumulating across the street.
You know, it's for me to sit here and say that's the right thing to do would be the role.
He's in good shape too. He's not. It's no fatigue or nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about chicken?
Our shells may vary in color and size, but we are connected through a universal.
Fried right now.
It is. You don't even understand. Okay, your phone is nice.
This gets darker and darker in film 33.
Deep card to give chase. Motor Wasiama. The Bino Japan S15. Into that first outside zone, the Hyper NFT. .io. Dodge Viper. Into that second outside zone. Seems like the Chiefs drivers are just grouping up.
You know, shortly here in a couple of months, and see you guys all out there. Enjoy.
They consume and produce vast amounts of manufactured make-believe. Because Because of this, film geeks possess a closeted history of childhood trauma and neglect, developing into antisocial maladies such as narcissism, anxiety disorder, masturbation, prostitution.
What? No, that's Miles' short film. Oh look, it's him.
Out of supply.
What does it say?
She was hired to do this. This is a hit.
I love it so much. I love it so much. I love it so much.
He's leaving. He's leaving.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Michael Johnson.
Six more months until I become an officer. Shh, I think I hear something. Anjuma, where'd you think you're going? The south? Shoot that, shoot!
Holy shit. Guess who?
Is it yours?
Oh Jesus.
Is it yours?
Oh god.
You in this?
You'll see.
Oh, I did in my pocket.
Bro, what? Calm down, okay?
Nazareth.
Calm down.
It was a great film.
Bro, they're walking out.
It was a great film. It's okay. It's okay. Old man. Old man.
咁你喺度做咩？
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
阿姨，你聽住，我半年之後會喺同一個時間、同一個地方出現。
She's so cute.
Title card's coming. Okay. Calm down.
Tell us to calm down, we're only gonna be louder. Yeah, we will. Yeah, exactly.
وقتی میخوای بغلابا رو بذاری توی ظرف دقت کن بغلابا رو درست بذار خرد نشه چون
This is such an aesthetic. The purple, the beige chairs. Bro.
You can see on camera. Oh, okay. But did we ever see that?
Over previous years.
here.
It's the best table.
Where do you think it is?
You're going through that door.
Can we go back out?
Could you hold it? Could you hold
Okay.
the door? Could you hold the door? Now
Okay.
let's see if we can go out from here.
Wait, you can still go out from here?
I do not think so. It's the end of the world. Let's see.
Ladies and gentlemen, she said yes. Oh my god. May 20th. Remember this day. Alright, let's drink a sip of water. Time now is 11:07 p.m. Let's talk about today. So, holy shit. What have I done? Oh my god. So let's get the elephant out of the room out of the way. I think today is officially the first day in my life where I have a girlfriend. Yeah. Shit. Fuck, suddenly all these like, oh, I'm so lonely, I'm forever single memes, suddenly they're not relatable to me anymore. All these people who are also single, like me before, like Michelle, Miles, I can't relate to them anymore. Suddenly, I'm a different person now. And, okay, well, let's do everything in chronological order. I dressed up, I buttoned up. I was gonna make myself lunch at home, but I thought, you know what, screw it, I'll eat outside. So, that's what I did. I dressed up in a nice suit, nice pants, nice black leather shoes. I went out, and, and I took the bus, and it was like pure it was like Beau is Afraid. The street outside of my apartment is like, it's literally Beau is Afraid, because like, okay, a couple days ago, cops were there arresting a couple of people, but today it was basically like the homeless people doing drugs on the bench, and then when I walked past it, some old homeless Asian dude touched me on the shoulder, and then I walked to the bus stop, and there's even scarier homeless people like staring at me, so I walked to the other bus stop for number 1. I took the bus, I walked to the campus, and by the time I arrived it was like 12:15-ish, and turns out here it is, the Film Club Film Festival. So I was in my sunglasses and I was listening to music and I looked very serious. And then as I was approaching the entrance of CMD, Leslie, the Indian professor, and another person randomly showed up. Holy fuck, out of all the people, you gotta show me, like, out of the entrance, in my fresh attire, you show me my favorite professor in this college, and my crush? Sheesh. So, Leslie's like, hi, and then the Indian professor's like, oh, can I remind me of your name again? And I'm like, fuck, how did you forget me? And I'm like, I'm Enoch. And he's like, oh, you have some Asian name I probably forgot. And we shook hands. And he said, oh, you're the guy who's trying to look for PAs, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he said, okay, tell me how many people you need. And, send me an email, and then I'll ask people in my class. And I'm like, okay. So there's that. But I didn't email him. Shit, I forgot to email him. I'm gonna email him later. And then I walked into the campus, and wow, it's a huge deal. There are snacks all over the table at every table cafe. They're building these gigantic circular tables all over the main space, the quad, and it's pretty crazy. I walked in and I already saw Thomas and Miles helping out with putting flyers in a bag and whatever, in paper bags. I also helped out for about 20 minutes, and I had a lot of fun talking to Thomas and Miles because Thomas is so uptight and Miles is in on the joke, and I started talking bullshit like, hey Thomas, do you like Buddhism? Like just stuff to like make Thomas feel weird. And Thomas asked me if I was groomed as a child, and I just laughed. I'm like, what kind of question is that? It was absolutely insane and hysterical. I saw Michelle, I saw Betsy, and we had fun. And then because of the Film 50 class, I saw Shane, I saw Tova, and Tova stuck around pretty much for the rest of the whole day. But I and Tova took a couple photos, and we got really, really friendly with each other. And so I thought Theo would be here. Theo was not here. He did not show up at all. And then yeah, who else showed up? A few people I know showed up. Aaliyah showed up at some point. I think it's also because of Film 50. Or maybe it's because of Film 40, I forgot. But the Film 40 folks showed up. And that's that. And not too long later, the film festival begins at 1 p.m. I didn't see the first maybe half an hour. It's probably nothing important anyways. But I and Tova, we just grabbed snacks and we walked around because I was hungry. I didn't eat lunch at all. There was no real actual food, but I ate some fruits. I ate a pack of Fritos, and I also ate a cookie, and I also ate what else did I eat? I ate oh yeah, concha. Glazed concha. And I and Tova talked about the mole again. And right now the greatest suspect is Leia. But now Tova told me that Thomas is still a huge suspect. And that's because I told Tova that Thomas is quitting the whole shoot. But I didn't think that Thomas quit the whole shoot because he's a suspect. I just thought Thomas quit the whole shoot because he just doesn't want anything to do with it, which is true. So I and Tova talked, and the more we talked, the more Thomas becomes suspicious. So at some point I walked up to Thomas, and Tova was there too, and started asking him about the mole, trying to get answers out of him. And he started avoiding my questions. He's being dodgy. He's like, why do you care? Are you the mole? Why are you so obsessed with it? You're the mole, right? And he's like, oh, I know stuff, but I can't tell you because you got a big mouth, you got a loose mouth. And I'm like, no, I don't. How many secrets do I keep? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, see, you don't know because I'm keeping a lot of secrets. So he wouldn't tell me anything, and that made Thomas even more suspicious. So if it's not Leia, then it's probably actually Thomas, which is pretty wild. But essentially, there is that. Now, all at the same time, I also saw Zach for a moment, yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm still processing what happened today. And then eventually I did go in to see the Film Club Film Festival. I and Tova walked in, and it was bad. It was terrible. There's this documentary, shitty, poorly made documentary about vegans. I support the movement, but holy shit, it's so boring, slow, long. Looks like a terribly made PSA. It sounds terrible. There's a freestyle dancing video that is so obnoxiously long. And then after that, I decided to just go away because I'm not interested. At some point, there's a kind of horror short film thing, something I forgot, but it was okay. Oh yeah, there's this right, Angel from Wednesday Film 32 made a Quentin Tarantino inspired film, like a Kill Bill Volume 3 type film, and it's so film bro, it's so obvious, it's so poorly shot and lit, it's like, the ending shot is so bad. So I just left, I just walked out because I just can't. Leslie texted me and told me she's vaping outside. Gotta talk to my girl. So I went out and I saw her at the very, very corner of the campus in a secret hidden table. And Drew was there too, but Drew, he doesn't seem to see me. So me in my fancy ass attire, I walked up to Leslie and I sat down beside her, saw her vape, and talked with her for quite some time, for about 40 minutes maybe. I just sat down beside her and just started talking. And yeah, it was really, really nice. I essentially gave her more hints on who the girl is. I told her that the girl I like, the girl I have a crush on, whenever I speak to her, it's like playing chess. She's like a maze, because every time I say something, every time I do something, it's like, in front of her, it's like, it's so difficult. It's so difficult, because I have to think if she likes it or not. And then, yeah, and then, Jesus. And then we talked and talked and talked. I honestly forgot what we talked about, because we talked so much today, it was actually quite crazy. We basically talked about film festival and how's Film 33 going, and at that point, and then she started asking me questions like, okay, is she Asian? Does she dye her hair? Where did you meet her? Where did you first meet her? In the CMDO main campus. And I told her main campus. Some questions I refuse to answer because it's so obvious right off the bat. But I told her I see her in my dreams, and she said, oh yeah, me too, I see her in my dreams too. But the guy I used to like, you know, and she fist bumped me. I'm like, okay. And then after talking for a bit, we walked back to the green room where I showed off my Sigma lens to her. And which is pretty cool, very heavy. And then what happened was, it was a break for the film festival, about a 15-minute break. People started walking out of the auditorium, and me, Leslie were just there, and then Alba joined. So I also showed off my Sigma lens to Alba. Alba played with it for a little while, And Michelle showed up, and then I also found Tova later, and then it's just Alba and Leslie talking to each other a little bit, and then it's Leslie playing with my camera, just filming me, taking pictures of me, and I look stupid. I like my own pictures if they look great, but I look fucking stupid. Look at my silly helmet hair, my goofy mustache, my acne. I look tired. I look stupid. But you know what? It's Leslie. She's a great camera person, so I let her play with my camera. And she doesn't know how to use it. And I told her, okay, so Sony Venice, you know how to use it. Sony a7 III, not so much. And then she laughed out loud. She's like, fuck you. And I'm like, wow, worst cam op ever. So that was that. But I'm so happy I let Leslie touch my camera. It's very nice. And she filmed me. She spent like a whole minute filming my neck for some reason. That's that. And then, yeah, it's so weird too. Michelle was so excited to show me the plan. So that is something that I was a little bit excited for, but not really. But anyways, it actually happened. So Tova's stuck around because she wants to see my short film. I also saw Lauren and his fiance, who turns out that they're married already and is his wife. It's a small, petite Japanese girl about half my height with bangs, very typical Japanese look. And her name is Mitsuho. And I like how Alba tries to avoid other Japanese people as much as possible, but it never works, so Alba ended up befriending her. Michelle got really excited, and suddenly this super extroverted girl who dresses very American, but is clearly Asian, showed up out of nowhere, saw Michelle, and ran and screamed, was like, "Hi, bestie," or something like that, and they hugged and jumped. Turns out that girl is Jim Lau's daughter. So the guy who plays the old man in my short film, it's his daughter. And I smiled, I shook hands with her, I'm like, I'm Enoch, and there's Tova, and so there's that. But we didn't have a lot of chance to talk, because immediately after that, the second half of the film festival started playing, and it started playing actually good short films. And so Michelle, the Hong Kong girl, me, and Tova, at the very back of the auditorium, started seeing these shorts. Unfortunately, Leslie wasn't here, but we saw the drifting videos by Lauren, which are very well edited, but very tediously long, and if you're not a car nerd, you'll pretty much not like it. I think it's fine, but not my cup of tea. And then we saw Miles' short film, which is surprisingly good. It's still, guns, suburban house, FBI. It's kind of a meh concept, but it's pretty well executed, way more well executed than I thought it would be. His dad was the gaffer. He also gaffed for Mulholland Drive, so okay, it looks good. Well lit. It ended it quite well, actually. And then it showed Udav's short film, which was so uncharacteristic for Udav. It's sort of like a Quentin Tarantino biopic, but like in a parallel universe. It's so film bro, it felt like a parody. Wasn't good. But some wide shots look great, but that's pretty much it. And then we saw Thomas's short film afterwards, which was so excited. Me, Tova, Michelle were just laughing the whole way through. Like when Thomas showed up on screen, I laughed so hard. It's called Meet Me in Seoul, and one of the actresses literally have to say, "Oh, I can't wait for you to meet me in Seoul." And I was like, "Oh, she said the thing, oh my god." It was so funny, and we were so loud, and the Hong Kong girls sitting beside me are the first generation Hong Kong girl. she was the loudest. She laughs out loud so much so that the entire audience could hear. It was pretty insane. And she's like, oh my god, I know her. Because she studies dance in UCLA. So she just knows a lot of theater kids from UCLA. So that's that. Okay, when is this air vent gonna stop? Oh, there it is. So, yeah. And then we went through Thomas' short film. Theo texted me randomly, which is very suspicious, saying that he's actually now free for the overnight shoots, and he's okay with the overnight shoots suddenly, which is really weird. Maybe Theo's trying to prove that he's innocent. But that's that. And I also tried to get friendly with Theo by telling him that, oh, you know, we're at the film festival. We just saw Life of a Corsair, which is the most awful, cringy fucking thing ever. It was so awful. Oh my god, not again. But yeah, we went through Thomas's short film. Honestly, some shots are great. Some cuts are great. Some cuts are fine, but some shots are great. Thanks to Kat, the editor, and Lauren, the DP. And then it's my short film, Cloud Busting, as well as the premiere of Love and Death in the Dying Light of Hong Kong. And holy crap. Holy crap, it's surreal. Like, of course, I've seen my own short films like 200 times already, so I wasn't like watching it with fresh pair of eyes or anything. And at that point, because my short film screened so late in the lineup, a lot of people just walked out, including Lauren. So Lauren's really excited to watch my Hong Kong video, and he didn't know that I'm screening 2 films, and the second one will be my Hong Kong one. So he and his wife walked out before he could see the second one, which is very sad. Yeah, we saw Cloud Busting. It was very interesting. I love, it worked too, like no audio issue, no screen glitching issues, worked fine. And whenever the Hong Kong girl beside me saw Jim Lau, he's like, my dad never did that to me, wow, I'm just kidding. And it was kind of crazy. Tova was really moved by it. Tova told me that she almost cried at the end, which is fucking wild. Like, you're not even like an immigrant. What is there to cry about, bruh? And it's crazy because I'm just a humble noob ass filmmaker, but I think my short film sort of stood out. And then Love and Death played, and it's even better. I like it even more. Tova and Michelle like the first one more. They like Cloud Busting more, but Love and Death is so much more amazing aesthetically. Especially the Ghost in the Shell sequence. It was so like monumental, and then the ending, it was pretty great. And then when the short films ended, the Hong Kong girl and Michelle started clapping really loudly and yelling, woo! And I'm like, calm down. And it's crazy. I'm like one of those guys who just have like 10,000 chicks around me and who like really likes hanging out with me because I'm such a giga chad, like a jock, when in fact I'm like the opposite of that kind of character. Yet I have so many girls around me. It's so funny. And Alba was there, and then Thomas was beside Alba at some point. Thomas left when his short film played, and he came back to watch my short film. And then Alci Rengifo's short film, Azizam, played, and it's honestly not bad, but also, kind of a mid-story. And then, before that, we still have, a couple more short films that are amazing. 3 more. There's one that's like this fuzzy experimental horror short film that it's kind of mid. It's like 2 minutes long and it's like nothing happens and it's not that scary. Another one is this fuzzy, grainy office spooky story that I didn't really like. And there's one by a man by the name of Charles Kapp, and it's this part TV, like 90s TV fuzzy aesthetic film. Looks really good, great musical choices as well. So that's that. And then Azizan played. Oh, and then there's the my college's film program promo video, which is so hilarious. A lot of people walked out, but when we saw Cuchillo showed up, we all clapped, "Whoa, Cuchillo!" And when Antonio showed up, we were like, "Whoa, Antonio!" When Alcy showed up, we were like, "Oh, Alcy!" It's so funny. And the fact that like when all these videos played, I'm like laughing at people. I'm like laughing at their directions. It's like, it's so cool how I know who made these and like who these people are. Also, Carmelo's dating advice for a film geek video. That's actually not bad. It's like a compilation of old movies and old PSAs, but it's sort of like a comedy thing. But yeah, people after the short film festival, people walk up to me and tell me how genuinely amazing my short films are. A huge ego boost. Carmelo said, "Wow, I really love them." And then Alba, I walked up to Alba to ask her if she likes it, and she's like, "Yeah, it's well shot." And then like Felipe, the guy from Photo One, came up to me and shook my hand, saying, "Wow, this is gorgeous. I have so many questions." And Thomas was like, "Yeah, it's really good." And Miles liked it too. I also like other people's shorts. Like Miles' short is not bad. Carmelo's short was pretty fun. Thomas's short, you know. Alright, so unfortunately the air vent is still on automatically. Time now is 12:25, let's continue. So the short film festival ended and we all went out for a bit of a dinner time. And it went from like 5:45 to 7 p.m. And sheesh, they got some epic foods in there. So they set up like a few tents and it's like a buffet essentially. We got a tray full of squash and cucumbers and asparagus. We got a tray of mashed potatoes. We got a tray of chicken breast and smoked ham, which I really like. There's a tray of bread. There's a tray of penne pasta. There's a tray of Michelle's talking to me right now. There's a tray of a lot of different foods, and alright, just had a call with my mom. FaceTime, in fact. Shoot, let's continue. Right, the absolute insanity that is today. I've confessed to her, and the next thing you know is I just started explaining the origin story of like me falling in love with her. Including the time I went to CMD to interview with Antonio, and she told me that she's writing Breathless and she needs my help, and I just felt really warm-hearted about that. And then another day when I went to watch Seven Samurai, and I ran into her, and it's so funny because I'm thinking about her, and then she texted me, and again she's so entertained by my story. She's like, and she keeps laughing, and we keep getting distracted by something. Like at some point she switched to a new vape, and it's like green bean flavor, and it's awful. And she gave me her vape pen. I was thinking like, ooh, would it be cool if she gave me her vape pen? And she did, so I took a hit. Today's a day to take a hit. Today is a day to take a hit from the girl you have a crush on. You just confess to a girl, the girl gives you vape, you take a fucking hit, baby. So I took a hit, and it's awful. It's terrible. Green bean flavor. Fuck it. And she said this is bad, but milk tea flavor is even worse. But I like milk tea flavor more. And then, but I continued talking. But we kept on like going to the side. We kept on joking. Like Leslie said, oh, that was actually the first time, after I came back to LA, the first time I went to the cinemas is to watch Seven Samurai on 35mm. And that's also the first time she and Drew watched a film together. So literally the first time they watched a film together, and I fucking show up. And I told her, like, if God exists, like, I don't believe in God anymore, but if God exists, like, this would be a sign. Like, I feel like God existed that night. And she joked saying, wow, this is like a spiritual experience for you, like a religious experience. And I went on and I talked about just essentially um, you know, it's kind of a roller coaster ride. We worked on Breathless together, and there's this intimacy and how she told me about the girl in China and how she's living in Portrait of a Lady on Fire and I'm living in The Mood for Love. And I cried after that, like when I went back home. And as I'm talking about it, I also want to cry. So when I started talking about like wanting to see her after film 33, I already like my eyes started getting wet already and my voice starts to tremble. Like I'm actually starting to tear up. And she's like, I thought she's still in love with the Chinese girl, and she sort of is, but she said the Chinese girl is really suicidal now, and if the Chinese girl decided to commit suicide, there's nothing Leslie can do, might as well. And again, like last Thursday, Leslie said that she would like to date someone here in America as well. Yeah. And then I told her about the time the two Tuesdays ago when I told her that I have a crush on someone, and she basically almost immediately figured out it's her, but then I managed to convince her that it's not her, but she told me that she knew it's her the whole time. Like the moment I told her I have a crush on someone, she already immediately knew it's her. And I'm like, well, it took you at least 10 minutes. And she's like, okay, sure, if you insist. At some point I said something about myself being ugly and awkward or whatever. And she said, do you want me to give you oh yeah, I told her the next day after that Tuesday, on Wednesday, I wore a beanie because I got really sad and I cried like 3 times that day. And there's a tree behind the campus and I touched that tree. And she's like, oh, okay. And she said she doesn't like it when I wear the beanie because she likes my fluffy hair. And I'm like, what? This hair? This looks terrible. And she's like, okay, but I like it. So, okay. And I'm like, this is terrible. And she's like, I love it. It's so fluffy. I like to touch it. And she asked me if I want her to touch my hair. And I'm like, okay, sure. And she sat right next to me and she like touched my hair. And like, again, her hands are like warm and a little sweaty. But like this is the second time she's patted my head. And this time it's like much more, you know. And it's like, fuck, it's like heaven. And shit. And then I continued talking about how on Thursday I basically hit rock bottom. I had dinner and I spoke with Michelle and I cried while having dinner. And I said, you know, I like crying while eating food. And Leslie's like, oh, I do that all the time too. And I said how I cried about how it's so unfair that people like us always have to give up again and again. And at that point, I really, really wanted to cry. And then I said, but on Friday morning, I changed my mind. I listened to happy music. I listened to good music. The weather's really good. And I told myself, I'm just going to enjoy the final times with Leslie. I'm going to enjoy 10 more days. Well, right now it's 0. But 10 more days with her and then I'm done. And then I'll move on. I'll confess to her. I'll move on. And as I'm speaking that, I really, like, my eyes were so wet and I actually had to wipe them. It wasn't like full blown, like actual crying, but it was legit, like, tears coming out. And she notices it, and I'm so glad she noticed it. I love crying in front of girls, especially girls that I like. I remember crying in front of Natalie, and I just love how it went. And the fact that I cried in front of Leslie is just amazing. And she asked me, do you have tissues in your backpack? And I'm like, I don't think so. I'm going to use my suit. And she's like, no, don't use your suit. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I won't use my suit. It's like $60. So it was still fun. Like, I'm very serious at that moment, but we kept on being distracted with, like, jokes and stuff. And then, but I was also at a very relaxed state. Like, I wasn't curled up or anything. And then I kept talking about how, okay, well, so my plan is to sort of give you hints. And she even said, okay, I don't need hints. Like, I already know. But I'm like, no, but this is still part of my plan. And she's like, okay. And then that's today. And then after that, she said, okay, do you have any more things to ask me? And I'm like, no, I have no more questions. I literally said everything. This all, literally, I am serious that like this is all part like this. That's it. Like in my head, I imagined what would happen if I confessed to her. And it went pretty similar. I would basically say, you know, I like you. I know you're gonna reject me, but that's okay. Ask me anything. She's gonna say, when did it start? And I'll talk about all these things, and then she'll say, okay, well, thank you for telling me. And then she'll walk away. But that's not the end. And then Leslie asked me, okay, what other questions do you have for me? And I'm like, I actually don't. And she's like, no, you do. I can tell. But I actually don't. But I actually seriously don't. And she's like, no, I know you're thinking of something right now. Just say it. Don't act all cheeky. I really have nothing more to say. I'm seriously have nothing more to say. And then she said, okay, so what do you think I should react? And I said, I don't know, you'll reject me? And she's like, no. And I sort of ignored that. Like, okay, of course you won't reject me. You'll be nice with me. Stay being friends with me. And I said, oh, you know, best case scenario, we could stay being friends. We can still hang out. We can still watch that screening of Taxi Driver at the Academy Museum. Watch M by Fritz Lang at the $1 Million Theater. And he's like, what's the better case than that? And at that point, I thought, is she gonna say yes to being my girlfriend? No way. So I said, okay, worst case is you hate me, you shut me out, we don't talk anymore. And she's like, no, the other side. And at that point, I'm starting to know what she's getting at. And she looked at me and she said, you know, just now, everything you said was kind of selfish because it's all about your feelings and you never asked me about my feelings. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. So I asked her, okay, so how do you feel? And it was like sort of this roundabout conversation where ultimately it all comes down to, okay, so do you like me? Or before that, it's like, yeah, so what will you do? What's your reaction? And she said, it's okay. And I'm like, okay, like what? And then again, it's this very crazy roundabout conversation. Roundabout, bounce, back and forth of like, yeah, I mean, I think it's, you know, I think, you know, it could work, maybe. And I said, okay, but I'm not your type, right? And she's like, no, as in, no, I didn't say that you're not my type. But she also doesn't say that I'm her type. It's just that she believes that there are many types of people and she can like multiple types of people, I guess. It was kind of vague. And so at that point, I already had the feeling, like, no fucking way. She's not rejecting me? She's saying yes? That's a yes? What? What? But at that point, I was so emotionally crushed. It's just like, I don't know how to react. And she's just like, go on. And then she sat really close to me. She crossed her legs. And I also leaned against the chair and I looked at her. And I crossed my legs. And she was like sitting this way. And I was sitting this way. And we had a very intimate moment of just us sitting against each other. And she's like, so what do you want to say? And I'm like, I don't want to say anything. And she's like, think again. What do you want to say? And I'm like, okay, now I have something to say. Do you want to date? And she's like, yeah, sure. Let's hang out and figure it out and work it out. And I didn't cry. I thought I would cry. She asked me what I would do if she said yes. And I said, I don't know. And she said, that's one thing I don't like about you. And that is, you don't think about the future enough. And you always expect the worst. And I told her, there's a saying that goes like, 冇期望就 冇失望, which means if you have no expectations, then you won't be disappointed. And I told that to her in Mandarin, and she's like, oh, okay, I see. And then at that point, campus police came with a flashlight, and so we thought, okay, it's time to leave. And at that point, it's like 8:40. So we went to that secret table chair place again. We went there, and it was really cold. And I looked at the sky, and it was sort of purpley and gray, and she's like, wow, you've been crying a lot. Also, earlier today, she asked me if I would want to marry her, and I said, I don't know. I try my best to not think that far. And she also asked me if I think of her when I masturbate, which is a very direct question. She doesn't even ask me if I masturbate or not. She directly asked this question, assuming that I do masturbate. And I said, no, I don't think so. Thank God I said that. But that's true though. But we sat at that round table, that chair, and I'm like, okay, so do you like me? It's so fucking crazy that I would even say to a girl, do you like me? And she's like, yeah, I like you 80%. And I'm like, 18 or 80? I know she said 80, I just wanted to add some humor. She's like, 80. And I'm like, oh. Which is both flattering and unflattering. Flattering because my crush likes me 80%. Fuck yeah, baby. But also 80, like what's the missing 20%, you know? And she said, I'm very interesting. She said she really likes how artistic I am and the way I think. She likes how nice I am. You know, she likes my worldview. But the 20% is that I don't think far enough into the future. And that's okay. Again, and because of that, because she's not like head over heels for me, she's fine with just hanging out with me and working it out. And I said, working out? Like going to the gym? Nah, just kidding. And he's like, yeah, let me hit you up with Connor, the Macanese guy. And we talked about like doing push-ups a little bit. And I said, I do push-ups on my bed and on the floor. And she said, oh yeah, I do push-ups in the living room too. And my roommate would be like annoyed or something. But yeah, we continued. So yeah, again, she never said, okay, I'll be your girlfriend or something like that. Or yeah, let's date or something. And then she asked me, okay, do you have any more questions? And I'm like, I don't. And she's like, don't ask me if you could kiss me. And I'm like, don't worry, I'm not Simon. And she's like, okay, thank you. And we shook hands. And then I was really cold and I really wanted to pee. And she really wanted to pee too. So we had to leave. And she's like, okay, let's go home. And I feel like I'm holding you here long enough. And I said, yeah, I'm held like a prisoner. And then at the end, we stood up. We walked to the cafe and I had to take back my box. She grabbed some water to drink and I just didn't know what to say. I just saw her and I said like, I mean, bye, I'll see you. And then she's like, do you need a hug? And I'm like, yeah. So we hugged. And usually, yeah, I've hugged many girls before. But this hug is real. Like, but usually if I hug people, it's like, okay, just like little hug, little tug. But when I hugged Leslie, I put my head on top of her right shoulder, and it was a real, genuine hug. And she even like rubbed my back a little bit, I think. I don't know. And then I said thank you, and I said, wait, I need to look at you in the eyes. And she looked at me in the eyes, and I said, thank you. And she laughed, saying, haha, my friend had sex with a guy, and the guy said thank you next morning. And I laughed, haha, goofy. And then she's like, okay, well, see you. And I'm like, see you. And we looked at each other, and then we walked off. And I didn't listen to any music on my way home. I did not. I had to wait for bus number 1 to come. I had to stay in for like 15 minutes for that. And I had to, yeah. She says she's going to drink tonight. And I said, I will, but I don't have alcohol, so I'm going to drink water. And she said, oh no, don't worry. I want to invite you to my place and let's drink together. And at some point I listed out the things I want to do with her. Like, instead of just talking about, I love her and stuff, I just talk about the things I want to do with her. I want to get lost with her in the middle of Los Angeles. I want to listen to music with her and talk with her until 5 a.m. I want to go to her place and clean her place up and cook for her. And when I said clean her place up, she laughed out loud so hard. She's like, she's like that. And she's like, yeah, sure. I want you to help clean up my place. And I said I'll be like Faye Wong in Chungking Express, except I am Faye Wong. Holy shit. And, I don't know, and I told her a bunch of stuff, like, I've never heard a person who speaks Mandarin try to speak Cantonese, and it's so cute, and it's like, I just can't believe I'm saying this to a girl, and she's actually accepting it. And we just walk off, and that's it. Wow, what the fuck? I still can't believe this happened. I'm a little shocked, but I also didn't cry. I'm also not super elated, maybe because I'm tired. I'm not underwhelmed. I just feel blessed. But all this emotional damage that I've endured in the last few weeks, it all paid off today. I just feel blessed. I don't feel elated. I don't feel excited right now. I just want to just sleep and enjoy life for a moment. Now, again, like, just because she said yes to dating me doesn't mean anything in a way. Like, next time I see her, we'll probably interact just the same. I'll be snarky. She'll be snarky with me. We'll laugh. It is what it is. She'll take a hit of a vape and she'll give me the vape pen. But, and also, again, like she said, just because we're dating now, she didn't even use the word date. She's like, how do you even define date? How do you even define a relationship? I asked her, when's the last, if she had ever had a relationship. And she's like, how do you define one? And she's like, a guy confesses to you, or you confess to him, and like you two like hang out a bit. That's a relationship. And she said, oh yeah, once in my elementary school. And I said, that doesn't count. You're like kids. And she's like, yeah. So in a sense, this is also her first. In a sense. Which also, by the way, means she's probably also a virgin. But, yeah. I cannot believe it. I actually fucking did it. I fucking did it. Holy shit. I cannot write the virgin anymore because I swore an oath saying that the moment I got a girlfriend, I cannot. Again, we never said girlfriend, boyfriend, and we seldom use the word date. It's just like, okay, we can hang out. We can work it out. If I don't feel like it, if a huge thing happens, then I guess it's going to end. So we don't know yet. The future is uncertain, but we can hang out and work it out. And I'm like, okay, yes. So again, it's like, it's uncertain, but from today onwards, oh my God. It's like, I remember Natalie telling me about how she and Grant confessed to each other on the MTR, and it's orchestrated by Kingsley, and how I'm pissed by that. And this must be how it felt. And like, I don't need anyone orchestrating it for me. I confessed to her, and she accepted me. And I thought she would not, because apparently she was left traumatized. Also, she said like my personality and the guy who confessed to her back in junior high school and Simon's are also a little similar. Simon, not so similar, but that other guy from her junior high were both kind of quiet and awkward and reserved. And I said, weird? And she's like, no, not weird. I wouldn't use the word weird. No one's weird in this world. Everyone has different worldviews. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's true. So that's why I like her. She just like keeps impressing me with these answers. But yeah, she gave me head pat, hugged me, shook my hands, let me hit vape, even after I confessed to her. I don't think she's weirded out. In fact, she kind of enjoyed it today, I think. And I really liked it too. And today's really one of a kind. Today's truly, truly one of a kind. I guess two more things. 3 more things. Birkin suddenly called me while we were at the small table at the very, very end. Yeah, there's still a thing with Kuchio, whether we should do location scouting tomorrow morning or not. And nobody seems to be free. Carly might be free. Benny maybe, but now it's too late. I don't know if Kuchio will be down to scout tomorrow morning or not. If he's down, then, well, it's too late. It's like 2 a.m. right now. I don't know. Another thing is, yeah, so Michelle tried really hard to set me up with this first generation Hong Kong girl. In fact, this first generation Hong Kong girl said I'm cute, according to Michelle, which is fucking crazy. Never have I ever in my whole life thought that a girl I know would try to set me up with another girl. This is absolutely insane. I'm a fucking loser. Look at me. With my helmet hair, with my acne face, with my silly mustache, with my skinny body. Like, who would like me and think I'm cute? That's insane. And again, Michelle said, oh, you know, this Hong Kong girl, you know, I'm setting you two up together. Like, she and Leslie are really similar. Like, she's also wild, but she's more, like, emotionally intelligent and blah, blah, blah. But I don't buy it. A, it never works like that. I always find a girl I like naturally. B, it's very difficult for me to fall in love with someone. C, I only saw her for like 2 hours a day and we barely talked. That's like nothing. I'm not intrigued by her. But I appreciate her efforts, so if I could befriend her, that would be cool. But yeah, I told Leslie that I won't tell anyone that you know, I just got her. I told her I'm gonna lie because I like lying, and she's like, okay, interesting. I also said I wanted to go pee, and she said, why don't you go now? And I said, oh no, I don't want to pee outside. It's like stinky outside. I want to hold it, go back home and pee. And she's like, I respect that. That's your personal opinion, and I respect that. Again, just having a personality is so important, especially in the world of Los Angeles where nobody has personalities. But yeah, I guess this is it. Holy crap. I thought I would be on set in Encino and I would feel like I would be quivering and shaking and out of anger and pain, but no, quite the opposite, in fact. Quite the opposite. Also, apparently, a little bit later after I left, Michelle gave Leslie a bouquet of flowers. Yeah, Michelle gave Leslie a bouquet of flowers and asked Leslie to be her third wife. So that's that. And Michelle has the hots for Matheus right now, which is really stupid because she has the hots for Tyler a month ago, and then 2 months ago it was Cliff. So goofy, but I am committed to one person. That's me. So yeah, I can't wait. I want to invite her to my room to show her my diaries, and I want to go to her room to clean her up and drink with her and all the things that are going to happen now that we are sort of together. That mysterious Chinese girl who shows up and disappears, who is really angry, who's really artsy, who's kind of wild and unpredictable. He has a guy, and it's me. That's fucking epic. That's fucking epic. For a moment, I even thought, like, is this too easy for me? How did I even score her? But you know, it's not easy. I spent so much time and effort trying to score her. I feel like if I had told her 2 weeks earlier that I love her, it wouldn't have worked. It has to be now. It has to be in today, after I shave all this, in a fancy suit, after all these hints and whatever. Yeah. But according to Michelle, it's really obvious that I'm in love with her because I look at her so much during dinner. But yeah, absolute insanity. It's 2:43 a.m. I'm just gonna go to bed. But a couple of addendums. First of all is I told Leslie about the umbrella incident and how it's all, you know, unintentional. And I said she put a red gaff tape around it, and she said, okay, it's not gaff tape. It's paper tape, so there's gaff tape, there's paper tape, and there's another tape, and this is basic knowledge, and as a film student, you still don't know how, why, and then she tested me. She's like, okay, red scrim and green scrim. Which one stops one stop, and which one is two stops? And I'm like, oh, red is one, green is two. And he's like, oh, okay. At least you know this. And a little bit later, we talked about horror movies, and she said, yeah, she said she gets scared really easily. And I said, yeah, if there's one thing I don't like about you, it's that. Like, that almost made me like question if I really love you or not. And she laughed. And I said I want to watch horror movies with her. And she said the Academy Museum is screening The Exorcist soon, and she wants to watch. And maybe I could watch with her so that she can grab someone by the arm. But she said it depends on the situation. Maybe she'll just watch with another girl instead. Yeah, and then another moment is just like, I just realized like, there's so many failed love stories in CMD. Michelle with Harrison and Alba, or Eric with Hinata, or Miles and Yulia. There are also successful ones like Jade and Trinity, and Ava and Orson, and Zach and Sitlali, but I hear a lot of like, just like failures, and I'm glad that mine is not failing, I guess. Yeah. Another cool moment I should add is I think when I had to get the round 2 for the buffet dinner, I went up to Leslie, and I slapped her arm very gently with a paper plate, and she turned around, and I wanted to speak Mandarin to her and said, "你错过了," which means like you missed it, but she turned around and she spoke Cantonese to me first, saying like, 九妹西, which kind of threw me off a little bit, and then I spoke Mandarin back to her. So that's kind of funny. Shit. I will hide this from like literally everyone. So that's that.